G'day everyone. Well, I'm here with the linkage for the shock on this DR-Z400. It has been cleaned up, at least rudimentarily. We've got new bearings in here, new races, seals, the whole shoot and match. We got a linkage bearing kit from Rocky Mountain ATV. This is the Tusk brand. There's a couple other brands available, but this was the most reasonably priced, and I've usually had pretty good luck with Tusk brand stuff, so we went with that kit. This came with the bearings for all the different parts of this linkage, so you're going to have two bearings for each one of the larger size here on the linkage. This is for connecting to your linkage, your links, and then the other one goes to the, I think it's called the pivot point. It goes to the frame. And then the shock actually attaches to this smaller one, which is a single bearing there. And they've already got we've got the seals and the races already all put in there. So those are all ready to go in. What I've also done is I've got all my washers here lined up and ready to go. I have my bolts, and they have a thin coat of grease on those. And then we've got our locking bolt nuts. And I wanted to show you these before I get too far here. As you can see, this has kind of a funny look to it. These are a locking nut, so these actually will not back off, so you don't actually put Loctite on these. What you put on them is anti-seize, and that actually helps a lot. So you torque them to specifications, and they will hold on, no problem at all, as long as they're not worn. And these ones look like they're in pretty good shape. So looks like we've got everything we need here. I just was double checking all my stock, make sure I've got what I needed. Now that I know that I do, I'm going to go ahead and just start putting this all back together. Now I'm going to use this anti-seize, and so this is by Permatex. It's an anti-seize lubricant. This is designed for, you know, bolts and nuts where you have both steel and aluminum coming together, as well as just where you don't want to have things rusted together. And that's really what we saw with these bolts when I was taking this apart. So this anti-seize will help with that. So that's what we're going to put on those nuts, since they're a locking type nut. I'm going to block this back tire up. Again, it's just hanging there on my stand here, so I'm going to pick up on this, slide a block underneath here. This will just get the swing arm a little bit more out of my way. And I'm going to need to turn this essentially the bottom here. So both your clickers, you want the rebound and compression adjustment to be on both the same side. So, I'm going to go ahead and move that. And probably the easiest thing to use for that is going to be my crescent wrench. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll place these washers on here. These are the larger size washers. According to the manual, I want all the nuts to be on the right side of the bike. Alright. What I'm going to verify here is that my washers stay in place. Looks like it did. Make sure you got our washers correct here. So yeah, there's two for each size. Yep, there we go. Okay, so then we're going to place one of these larger nuts. This is a 17mm nut. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. So, what I'm going to do is I'll take my anti-seize. I'm just going to place the smallest little bead right there on the threads, and that will feed the whole thing. So I'm just going to do that with all my nuts real quick. Now I'm going to take our linkage. Okay, these linkages, the Suzuki is to the outside on both of these, and they'll sit like this on the bike. I do have some of these lowering links, and you can see they're a little longer, and a longer link will actually lower these. These will lower this bike about 1.5 inches. For right now, I'm going to put on the stock links and just see how they go, and then if I need to lower the bike later on, we'll discuss doing these. So once again, I'm going to take 2 of these larger washers and I'll place them on the larger part of the linkage here on the bottom, and then we'll take our bolt. Again, I'm using the Suzuki logo as my guide. We'll slide that bolt through, and the linkage on the other side, and then again one of these larger bolts. Alright, then we're going to connect to our shock. So this is easily done when this bike is up like this. So again, I'm going to take my 2 smaller size washers. We'll place these on each side of the linkage. This is where things might get just a little bit tricky. Okay, just one more to go here, and this is where you can kind of see where we're at. Actually, things look perfect there, so I just got lucky in the way I blocked up the back wheel, in that it's blocked up almost exactly where that wheel needs to be for me to place this. These bolts should be snug to slide through that spacer. They should not be loose in any way. You don't want them loose. They're supposed to be good and snug. Okay, so we'll start with this the shock bolt first. Okay, 41 foot-pounds or 55 Newton meters for the shock absorber bolt. So we'll go ahead and torque down these linkage bolts. They're going to be 17 millimeter. And torque specs on this is 100 Newton meters or 74 foot-pounds. So, and this is one of the challenges of working on motorcycles, of course. and just about anything else out there. And that is how do you get to one of these goofy locations like clear back here up underneath. And the frank matter is with the tools that I have, I can't get in there. So what I have to do is do my best to get the closest torque that I can to that 74. Basically 74 is going to be pretty much as tight as I can possibly get with the tools that I have that can get into that location. Okay, well that's the closest that I can come to properly torque down. Okay, so my next step is now with that swing arm all in place, the shock in place, the linkage ready to go, I'm essentially ready to set the sag, but I can't do it yet. And the reason for that is you want to have all the plastics on, the bike completely back together, and whoever's going to be riding this bike, we're going to have them put on boots, put on their riding gear, helmet, and probably a backpack full of water and things like that, so we can properly set the sag. So I'll do another video on setting the sag, but as far as the rear suspension of this motorcycle, we're ready to go. So really excited. It's been a couple of weeks work to get this to this point. Not really, it's really been, I could have done it all in one day, but unfortunately my schedule didn't allow it. So but about 8 hours of work total to get that all done, taken care of, and that's me doing it, not being someone who knows what I'm doing. So it was a great little project, a lot of fun to work on. I hope this has been helpful for you, doing this suspension on the rear of this motorcycle, from rebuilding the shock, revalving it, and go ahead and cleaning up and replacing the bearings on the shock linkage. So remember to like and subscribe. Please let us know your comments below. We'd love to hear what your feedback on how you like these videos. And I appreciate your time. We'll see you on the trails. So the next step